Good morning, it's time for a cup of joe.
With the Dr. Pepper difference, see what the difference does for you.
Okay, so I've been thinking about how I should probably make this video for a while now, but I didn't want to make it. I didn't want to tell you that I've been drinking again and that I'm off the wagon, because who's really itching to make a video about how they are kind of a failure at the current point in their life? So I'm putting it off and thinking, you know, I have more important things to talk about. But then my good old cousin Barbara sent me a link to a thing that said that Dr. Pepper was selling their company to Coca-Cola and that Coca-Cola was just going to stop making Dr. Pepper. Whew. And I had three thoughts. My first thought was, is this true? My second thought was, this is terrible. And my third thought was, this is awesome. So if you've been following my channel, you know that I have supposedly just tried to stop drinking Dr. Pepper. I have tried to stop drinking Dr. Pepper at numerous points in my life, and I thought I was finally going to do it, and I even made a video explaining how to stop bad habits, but yet here I am.
Dr. Pepper.
Long story short, Aaron took up a job. I lost my time in the mornings for myself to pray and make videos, and things got stressful, and so I turned back to the bottle, or in this case, the can. I have always been sort of a big fan of the soda pop, but especially Dr. Pepper. Like, if it wasn't for Dr. Pepper, I don't think I would have that much of a problem giving up pop in general, which is why my third thought, after thinking, this is terrible, I love Dr. Pepper, my third thought was, this is awesome. Like, this would be so great to not have to be tempted anymore by Dr. Pepper, but unfortunately I looked into it and it's not true. It's very strange to be like disappointed that something you love is still going to exist in the world, but it would just be easier if I didn't ever see Dr. Pepper on the shelves at the store and didn't know that I could get it basically anytime that I wanted. And I realized that this is like kind of been a huge theme in my life of cutting things out of my life that are temptations rather than, I guess, learning self-control, which I'm not sure if it's how good or bad that is. Like, there's some other ways in my life where I've seen this pan out, and this is going to get kind of personal, and I didn't really think that this is how I would start ever talking about this, but here we go. So the first thing I've sort of removed the temptation of from my life is television. We don't have a television in our house because I didn't think that we needed it, and we agreed that it was an unnecessary distraction. However, that being said, we never really had like a TV addiction problem. Like, I remember when I was young, I would watch a lot of TV, but I don't think I really watched that much in high school. I don't know. Certainly by the time I got to college, I just stopped watching TV. So I wouldn't say getting rid of the TV was that big of a sacrifice. But the other area that I've found this to take place is that when I was young and in like middle school and high school, I watched a lot of porn. Like, I was really into internet porn, and looking back on that now, I can see how self-destructive that was and how the problems that has created in my life. But back then, especially like in middle school and high school, I was very, I would say, amoral. Like, I didn't seek out to be immoral or anything like that. I wasn't even really a partier at all, but I also wasn't very moral. I didn't have any strong convictions. So when I discovered internet porn, I was like, heck yes, and I just kept consuming it. It wasn't until I went to university that I became much more convicted of my beliefs, and also the college I went to, being very Catholic, Franciscan University of Steubenville, we had blockers in our dorms, so we couldn't really, it wasn't as easy to access internet pornography. Also, I had roommates and that kind of stuff. So the thing is, I was relieved to go there and to have the internet blocked. I was relieved to not have the temptation to go on there and to go back into looking at internet porn. Now, eventually I got around those blockers, and that's just like, that's a whole other story. And that's the reason that right now I don't have the internet. I have a smartphone, but I don't have the internet on my phone. Like, I don't have a data plan, and we don't have internet at our house. A large part of that is to save money, but also part of it is I don't want the temptation. I don't want, in a moment of weakness, to have that availability to be able to go to the internet to look up something that I really should not be doing. It's like when St. Paul said the spirit is willing but the flesh is weak, and it's like, you know, this is not the life that you want to be living, yet you find yourself doing these things. And obviously porn is a lot more serious than drinking Dr. Pepper, but I want to talk about how the difference between trying to be able to resist temptation and build that strength up within yourself, which is a very, I think, very valuable thing to do, and it's great to be able to resist temptations, but I think it's also important to remove the temptation when possible and remove yourself from that temptation when you know that you are weak. So when I thought that Dr. Pepper might be just ceasing to exist soon, I was actually literally so happy and thinking like, oh my gosh, I might actually stop drinking pop. And it's not like I blame Dr. Pepper or like the company who makes it, which is who? 7-Up? Dr. Pepper / 7-Up Incorporated. Obviously, a product existing does not force you to consume it. However, when you have become addicted or even just gotten into the habit of something, often that can be hard to break when you always see it around. And this is when you know that you're not free. Like, it's weird to think that because you choose to do something shows that you're not free, because me drinking Dr. Pepper, or when I would look at porn, or even other things like when I eat junk food or do things that are bad for the environment. Like, these are all things that do not fit into my own framework of my ideal self. So in a way, it's like an out-of-body experience in the fact that I'm like, I don't do this. Like, the Joe that I know and that I want to be doesn't do these things, doesn't drink Dr. Pepper, lives a very healthy, holy life. And yet I find myself doing these things, and it's like, what are you doing? This isn't you, this isn't us, this isn't me. This isn't how I want to be living my life, because this is poison and it's rotting my teeth, and it's degrading my bones and just doing terrible things to me. But it tastes so good, and it's such a good pick-me-up. So basically what I'm saying with this video is we need to find a way, not for me to get more self-control, because that's hard to do, you know? I'm bad at self-control. We need to find a way to take down the 7-Up Corporation and convince them to at least get rid of Dr. Pepper. So if, you know, this false like lie meme that's going around on like the internet that everyone's saying Dr. Pepper is gonna die, if we all say that's a great idea, that'd be awesome. Maybe they'll do it, you know? So can we make that happen? Because if not, then otherwise I'm just gonna have to actually start controlling myself. Oh, seriously, what's wrong with me? And part of the reason that I also picked it back up is that it's getting warmer out, and like I associate drinking Dr. Pepper with the summer, and so that just makes it more of a struggle. Also, I'll use it as a motivation. Like, I'll be like, oh, well, I don't want to clean out that room or edit that video. And then I'll be like, well, we can drink a Dr. Pepper while we do it. And then I'll be like, oh, yeah, that sounds great. You temptress. You evil, evil temptress. Are you even really a doctor? Anyway, those are my thoughts. I don't know if I really made any sense. This was kind of an unplanned, rambly video, but it's one of those things where it's like, in the future, I know that I won't be doing this. It's just... But that future can't ever happen if I don't at some point make real life changes and choices to make that future come to be. And like right now, my kids have not ever drank pop at all, and they see it as like an adult drink, just like coffee or beer or something like that. But I want them to think of it as a bad drink that mommy and daddy don't drink. However, mommy and daddy do drink. And actions speak so much louder than words. As you know, if you smoke or drink or do whatever, if you try to tell your kids not to do that, they're not going to listen to you if you go around and then you're doing it. Unless my teeth all fall out and I tell them that's why, then maybe they'd be convinced. Anyway, thanks for watching. This has been your Can of Joe. I want to be your cup of Dr. Pepper, Dr. Pepper, Dr. Pepper, Dr. Pepper, Dr. Pepper, Dr. Pepper, Dr. Pepper. Don't Love you, bye.
Now, you're drinking Dr. Pepper right now.
That's exactly right. That stuff is good. It's got sugar in it, and two doctors have told me that if I drink it, I will die. But they died first.
Hold up. Hey.
Established in 1885. You know, you're way too old for me. You are robbing the cradle like no other.